Hello, my name is Karim Chamari. I'm doctor in exercise physiology. I've been a researcher for many years now. Now I'm come from Hospital of Sports Medicine in Doha, Qatar. Before that I was a researcher and university teacher in Tunisia, and I've also been on the field fitness coach with professional soccer. I will surprise some of the coaches saying that we can start resistance training as soon as 5 or 6 years old. The limit is when it's not the problem of age. The problem is that the child has to understand the advices and the security principles of doing resistance training with weights, and as long as he's respecting and understanding the risks, there is no limit. He can start and there is no risk, and we're gonna speak of the risk a bit later. Of course, there is a medical checking to do for the youngsters, and then once the medical status is okay, the child or the adolescents can resistance train, of course under the supervision of a competent coach. And there are some principles of progression of load, because the intensity has to be usually under 85% of maximum force, even if some also advise to go over, but for very experienced athletes, children or adolescents. And there must be a proper warm-up, a proper cool-down. There are some principles that I developed a bit in my lecture, and with these principles it's absolutely safe to do resistance training under the various forms of resistance training, with free barbells, with machines, with body weight plyometrics, with medicine ball, etc. So it's absolutely safe to do so. It has been thought that resistance training was deleterious for health. They said that it was increasing the risk of injury, it was damaging the joints, and more specifically the epiphyseal plates. This is absolutely wrong when you respect the principles. And the health benefits are at the level of health. You have a better bone mineral density, a better body composition, even in obese youngsters, positive effects on the lipid profile, on the hypertension, and also at the level of psychology. There are a lot of improvements of the psychological states when the youngsters do resistance training. Yes, of course. If the principles are not respected, there are risks, and at the level of the growth plates, and the other risks are more accidental. It has been reported that when adults and young children do unsupervised sessions, the risk of injury is very high in youngsters when it is accidental. There are weights that fall on the feet, the fingers get pinched, the head is hurt by a bar, and when we control all this, the risk of injury is really very low in youngsters. And to even more decrease the risk of injury, the coach has to prepare the athletes by a good technique, appropriate technique, and a good preparation of the core. The back has to be prepared to strengthen the limbs. One of the mistakes not to do would be to start resistance training without preparing the core. At that time, the risk of injury to the lower back is quite high. I'm really very happy to come here to Warsaw for this conference. I met new friends. I'm really happy, and I would like to say to the Polish coaches that Poland is a great country of sport, and that they are doing a wonderful job, and perhaps they will use some of the findings of the researchers on resistance training in youngsters to improve their actions. I know that they work with it, but they could perhaps improve it a bit. Thank you.